Good morning. It's a band. Woo-hoo. I love it. Okay, you can stand if you'd like. We're gonna proclaim that we are lights in this wonderful world with little Robert Anderson. All right. Sing it with us. And dancing is encouraged.
And welcome everyone to Kalispell Center for Spiritual Living, where we're here today to just celebrate that divine light in each one of you. Whether you're here in the sanctuary or online, we are celebrating you today because you are all divine light, and we need that divine light shining. And if you're new, grab a welcome packet in the back. And we have some prayer request forms that Reverend Linda's going to tell us about that you were handed this morning.
Thank you, Sandra. So if you didn't get a prayer request form, there are more on the back table, but we're handing this out to call your attention to the power of prayer. Following service, we have an empowering prayer service right up here in front. And if you don't choose to participate in that, or even if you do, you can fill out a prayer request if something's heavy on your heart, or if you want to celebrate and you want us to celebrate with you. So I would encourage everyone to fill out a prayer request and leave it in that box in the back. And that being said, you're on.
No, it's true. Prayer is an integral part of this community. So please never, ever, ever hesitate to ask us to pray for you. You are in our hearts and minds every day, and we pray every day. So please join us for the prayer circle or fill out a prayer card if it's on your heart and your mind. And, you know, part of it's so important, prayer is so important, to help us recognize that aspect of the divine in each one of us. So, if you have a moment, please join me in saying our statement of purpose. Our community lovingly and joyfully inspires, supports, and empowers individuals to discover and express their divinity. Well, as I've said the last few weeks, we have some new faces in here. We have a new website. Please check it out. And thank you so much to the Comps family, Oliver, Steve, and Rochelle, who put this together for us. And it is amazing. So please go look at it. Immediately after the circle, as Reverend Lyndon just told you, we will have a prayer circle. Please join us if something's on your heart or in your mind. And on Wednesdays, we have a Zoom meditation from 7:30 to 8, and it's led by Reverend Linda. I keep wanting to call her Reverend Zoom. But anyway, there's a card on the back to tell you how to get on the Zoom meditation. And Monday, when we were serving Feeding the Flathead, we served 80 meals. Woohoo! So now, take a moment to say hello to an old friend or greet a new one. Talk is over. All right, we're gonna gently, in a relaxed way, find our way back. But you can stand and sing or wander. Very easy that way. We'll do a little Karen Drucker. Love, that's what I get more of is love. I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of is love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Peace. Start my day with peace. When I start my day with peace, I feel the sweet release of peace. I start my day with peace. When I start my day with peace, I feel the sweet release of peace. Peace, peace, peace. Peace, peace, peace. Peace, peace, peace. Peace, peace, peace. Joy. I start my day with joy. When I start my day with joy, everything I do is infused with joy. I start my day with joy. When I start my day with joy, everything I do is infused with
Good morning to you. Aren't they fabulous? Let's give them some more love. Oh my God. Yeah, you all are fabulous. I have God bumps going on with all this beautiful music and all of you all being here today. So let us just move into that place because we know why we're here. We know what our mission is, and that's to love and support ourselves and each other, including the children. So let us move into that place, and we have a beautiful baby in our midst today, 6-month-old little boy. Let us just know, oh my gosh, that we are here to support the children of the world. So let us move into that place and speak as we do every single Sunday. Our promise, our commitment, and our intention to the children of the world. So together let us say, we see you, who you really are, made in the image and likeness of God. We cherish you, we support you, and we love you. And allowing those words to settle into the sanctuary within, let us allow the breath, the life of God to move easily in and through your body. For you are the place where God exists in form. Each one, the expression of the divine. Whole, complete, and holy. Just as the newborn child is enveloped in love, is welcomed into this world, we came from that. We came from that love, that space of being precious, holy, and whole. And so as we present ourselves in this moment to be aware, to be fully aware of our breath, of our neighbor, of the place we are in this moment, let us say yes. Let us say yes to the goodness and the givingness of the one. So for whatever it is that we might desire in our lives, be it an abundance of love, of well-beingness, connection, creative expression, ease, harmony, peace, joy, let us just say, yes, I am available. I am ready and I am willing to be the allness of God that I am created to be. And for this I say, thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, sweet Spirit. And together we say, and so it is.
There's one power invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. One power indescribable, yet you speak of it with every word you say. It's mysterious until you know the truth. It's simple has the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, heaven's gate or heaven's door. Whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, one power, one power. We speak so many languages. Our different clothing, our different colors have different names. Different is only dangerous when we forget that in our hearts we're all the same. We'll remember when we close our eyes to see such distances were never meant to be. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, angel's wings or heaven's door. It's Mohammed, it's your mind, it's your soul or it's your sign. It's the universe, it's music, Mother Earth or Father Time. Whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? Whatever name you give it, it's the very air we breathe. It's the
Yes.
love of love in you and me. One power, one power, one power, one power. One power, one power, one power. It's the moment of creation. It's an everlasting peace. It's the freedom of forgiveness. It's the sweetness of release. It's the start of inspiration. And it's the sunshine on your face. It's the birthright of all nations. And it's the boundlessness of space. It's the beauty of a baby. The serenity of sleep. It's the anger we abandon. For it's love that's most deep. It's one power. One power. One power. One power. Yeah, yeah. It's one power. One power. One power. Oh, it's the power of the love that lives forever in you and me. It's the power of the love in you and me.
Oh, yes. Woo! Yeah, yeah, yeah. Woo! Yes. Woo! Yes. Oh my gosh. Woo! That didn't give you God bumps. Thank you so much, Rochelle. Thank you so much. That was so beautiful. Yes, yes. And Red Star, Richard, David, Don, and Steve, thank you so much. Aren't they a blessing to us? Whoa, whoa, whoa. So for my talk today, it's going to be very, very short, darlings. We have a guest speaker today. He's a fabulous man who was, first of all, I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. He's been in the ministry 40 years. 40 years. From Seaside, California, we have Reverend Christian Sorensen, who was the last appointed president of Centers for Spiritual Living. They weren't at that time, but we were, all of us all together. And he was also the first elected spiritual leader. We call him the rock star of religious science. Come on up, please. Oh, my God.
Thank you.
He's written 11 books. He's done all kinds of wild and lovely things. And he's here with his son, Trevor, and his wife, Callie. And we're so happy to have you for the 16th year?
Yes.
Oh, for gosh sakes, aren't we blessed? Aren't we blessed?
Yes.
Yes, amen. So without further ado.
Oh, thank you so much. We don't need further ado.
No.
And it's just been wonderful. 09 was the first
09,
time
yes.
you had me here, and last year would have been 15th year.
Yes, but there was a little incident.
There was a little incident, so my goodness.
So
and in the meantime, your music department has expanded phenomenally.
Oh, aren't they fabulous?
You have a 6-member music team, and Rochelle, oh my goodness, you talk about rock stars. You've got a wonderful leader there.
She's fabulous. I just wanted to say he has mentored me, he's been my friend, and he's inspired me. So anything that you find good about me,
there you go. 15 years we've been having breakfasts and lunches and prayers and they can start rumors,
Oh yeah, and whining. Don't forget, I whined to you too.
That's right. So anyway, what a joy. I did miss you last year, and I forgot my coat this morning when I walked out the door, so please excuse the nakedness of my expression.
Perfect.
But this is what you get. Anyway, I missed you a lot last year. Just before I was to come out here, I went down on an electric bike. I was making a turn, going pretty fast, hit the gravel, out went the tire, and pilot error, and I broke my leg. I broke the top of the tibia, the knee, ribs, and what was interesting is they went to get a car. They picked me up off the ground. I couldn't walk. They poured me in there. And I've never been hurt in my life in any significant way. I haven't missed a Sunday because of being sick or hurt in over 40 years. And so when they were driving me home, they asked if I wanted to go to emergency. I said, no, I'll be fine in the morning. and so I wasn't. So I called the naturopath, and she came over with her herbs and things to take care of the pain, the broken ribs. And I don't think they worked, but I tried them anyway. But what's interesting, she took this tuning fork, and I didn't know this. Maybe you guys do. But you hit the tuning fork, and you put it on on your bones, and it's fine. But if you got a broken bone, they vibrate, and it hurts, and you got a break. And so she said, you know what, you better go get x-rays and call your doctor. But I had been to a doctor in over 5 years, so nobody would claim me, so I was just out there, and nobody wanted me. I wasn't going to the emergency. I didn't think I needed to do that. And it was interesting. Had somebody, a member of the congregation, call me and say, you know what, I got, I know people, doctors down at the hospital down below. You want me to set something up for you? I said, please do. And so that night, his son called me. Little did I know he was the head of the spinal surgery department of Scripps Institute down there. And he said, oh, come right in first thing in the morning. We'll take care of it. And they did. And they got me onto the path of healing. And I share that story because the whole time I never really thought it was that bad. And so Reverend Yvonne said, today or this month we're talking about peace. Peace is into peace. And so when you've got this experience of peace, the little pieces tend to take on the consciousness of peace or wholeness or everything as well. And when you've got a little peace, you work on that, bringing peace or allowing peace to emerge in your unknowingness, and it adds to the totality of the greater picture. And it's a really reciprocal kind of action. Got a full picture of peace that supports the little pieces when they come up. Oh, I'm not hurt. Everything is fine. And everything did work out. And that is really the key I want you to get this morning, is those little pieces that could scare you in your life. If you approach it with a sense of peace and well-being, the bigger picture of peace is going to be supported, and that bigger picture is going to support your little picture. So that's really what I may be heading toward this morning. Never really know for sure, but I'm working on it. You know, there was a fire that was going out in the woods, and I love it. This is like the third summer in a row I've been here without a fire. I'm really getting used to this. This is nice. But anyways, fire was going on, so the paper called their photographer. They said, hey, we need you to go get some shots of the forest fire. It's starting to expand, a lot of smoke. We've got at the local airport a Cessna. We've hired it for you. Just go there, hop on, and go get some good close-ups for us. And so he grabbed his camera, ran down to the airport. Cessna's right there. The door is open on the passenger side. Jumped in the plane. They taxied on down the runway. They lined up on the numbers, headed out into the wind, took off. The photographer said, okay, I want you to make a few real low passes right on the fire line, just above the flames. And the young pilot looked at him and said, does this mean you're not my instructor? You never know what moment you're going to find yourself in. And when you can come from a place of peace, in that moment, the greater picture takes on peace. If you come from a place of terror, oh no, I'm going to die, you got problems. So really what I want us to work with today is, no matter what that situation is, to recognize that if you've been doing your spiritual practices and you've been building the consciousness of the greater good is what's going to prevail in those moments. When I got our place here 15 years ago in 2009, the first thing we did is we put up this enormous head gate, absolutely gorgeous, 2 towering ponderosa pines. They were 15, 16 feet high, and they're called character logs. They had to go find them in the forest because I wanted a fork on the top of each one. And I guess they don't usually grow that way. So it was a little more difficult to find them, but they did, because that was my vision. And then they got this big arch that went over it, connected both sides, and a huge sign bigger than our dining room table called Mystic Mountain. That was my little ranch here. I loved it so much. And you could have driven a Mack truck into those trees. Nothing would have brought them down. Except a couple years ago, the painter was there and was painting, and all of a sudden the whole thing came down. It's like, oh, damn. And what had happened is, and you're probably more familiar with this because I'm a beach guy and don't really deal with this, but there's something you guys have here called carpenter ants. Are you familiar with it? Yeah, well, they decided to set up colonies inside my 2 ponderosa pines. And they don't eat much, you know. But over 10 years, and as the colony grows, it begins to spread, and the integrity is no longer there, and down came these amazing pines. And so I share that because that's what our negative thinking can do. You know, little pieces give you greater peace, but little negative pieces give you, they're like ants. The automatic negative thinking. Yeah, that is the acronym there. You know, and if you start going negative, if you're pessimistic, if you're thinking, oh, I'm going to die, oh, this is horrible, I need to run off to the doctor, and all those fearful kind of things, what begins to happen is it expands exponentially, and all of a sudden, the towering good in your world comes tumbling down. You got to stamp out those ants that are going on in your life. Got to get rid of those automatic negative thoughts that you would go to automatically and naturally and say, you know what, I need to take charge of my life. I got to change the way. Here it is, Max Planck. You know that guy, Nobel Prize physicist, father of the quantum physics, he says, change the way you look at things and the things you look at change. Is it a wave or is it a particle? I don't really care, but I guess it changes depending on how you look at it. So does our life. If all of a sudden a situation comes up and you go down, how are you going to deal with it? Because I'll tell you what, our problems and our difficulties, whatever it is, it could be a broken heart, a broken leg, it could be constriction, it could be the lack of finances in your world, it could be betrayal. It could be cheated on. It could be lost. It could be a doctor's problem. Whatever it is, what I want us to get is that it is inviting us to go a little bit deeper with it. It's inviting us to take a look. Hey, what can I learn from here? What is it that I need to know about this situation? How can I take my life lighter? Even though it looks like my world has tumbled down or my heart has been broken or leg or what have you, there is something here that can be done differently or to be known, or how I change my thinking. Ernest Holmes, the founder of our philosophy, Science of Mind, he said, and it's his cliche, you got the poster out on the wall there, change your thinking, change your life. Change the way you look at things, and things change. You come from a place of peace, I'm bringing peace here, things are going to be peaceful. Yeah. The Buddha, he was sitting underneath, I guess, the Bodhi tree, and just before enlightenment, the story goes, or a story goes, because there's all sorts of stories around that guy, but it's that the forces of Mara, and Mara, if you're not familiar with Buddhism, is like his bad guy, his devil, his, the one that he learns from, right? Anyways, and so just before enlightenment, the forces of Mara showed up, and they were firing arrows at him and throwing spears and swords and whatever and the story goes that they were falling like flowers right before him. And so my interpretation with that is that stuff that is negative and bad, those ants, those fires, the things being different than you thought, can fall like flowers when you reinterpret, when you allow that negative to be an inspiration or an invitation to go deeper. You begin to recognize that they're your friends. You're no longer trying to change the outside world. You're working in here, inside your heart and soul. There were a couple guys, they were sitting in a bar, they were having drinks, drinks were catching up, how that kind of goes. One of the guys leans over to his buddy and says, you better stop drinking. Your face is getting blurry. Well, that's kind of what we do with our prayers, We don't like this situation. Rather than turning within and saying, what is it I need to know here? I'm going to try to use my prayers just to change out there. I'm going to try to change the situation with my... That's not what we work on. Our philosophy says is that we work within our own heart and within our own soul. And we don't try to change the blurriness on the outside. What we want to do is work within. Our mind can drive us crazy, but our heart and our soul can drive us home. And you get to decide who you want to go home with tonight, It comes down to your choice here. What am I going to do with this? Because the situation that happens in our life that is not really what we thought we wanted, it's like a problem. It's not meant to define us. It's meant to prepare us. Whatever's going on in your world, it's an invitation to recognize that I'm in partnership with Spirit and I can know peace with this little piece so I can have peace in the greater experience in my life. I'm not going to give my peace and my power away to a situation that is outside. Ernest Holmes writes that I am going to practice faith until my fear disappears. Simple, listen, I'm going to practice this until this situation transforms and disappears. I'm going to put it in God's hands, if you would. And I will assure you, God's grace is far greater than your vision of karma. You got that? God's grace is greater than your vision of your karma. Oh, I got to go through this. I got to repeat this. It's like you can just give it up. Find a greater sense of peace from this situation. Recognize those things aren't spears coming at me, but flowers falling at my feet with the gifts and the invitation to grow and to expand and to know more. I've got to learn to love myself with all my flaws. But I also want you to recognize you don't have to keep those flaws either. We can't allow them to transform into that greater opportunity because they're the invitation for us to recognize the greaterness that is inside of ourselves. It's not out there. I'm not trying to make the world better or that relationship. I'm not trying to change anything out there. I'm working within my own heart, and so I'm using my life as my laboratory, if you would. This is our classroom, this thing called life. We came here to do this thing called life, So let us do that and not beat ourselves up, but take what doesn't go in the direction we had first intended with a sense of, oh, okay, what do I need to know here? There's peace here. I'm not going to give my power away that doesn't need to be given away. I'm going to, what are my affirmations? And I use this all the time. It doesn't matter what I'm facing. Broken legs. I don't know whether it's legal stuff or doctoral. The head starts going, the kind that will drive you crazy. This is my go-to at 3 a.m. or 3 p.m. It doesn't matter. Middle of the night, rather than not worrying, spinning out, I go with, and I breathe in, peace now. And I exhale. And I trust the process. Let's just do that. Breathe in and say it again. Peace now. And exhale, and I trust the process. Peace now, and I trust the process. That's good. That's worth remembering. Last one I told you it's worth remembering. It's my quote's on the cover of your program this month. Thank you. That's pretty cool. That was a good one too. But so is this one. This one's a valuable spiritual tool I just gave you. This life is our practice. There's other people you don't necessarily want practicing on you. George Carlin said this one. It is, don't you find it disturbing that what doctors do they call a practice? Yeah, it's like, oh, come on. So it's like, look, I just want to work here on myself. There was a young guy. He couldn't sleep at night. He couldn't sleep at night because he had a fear that someone had gotten underneath his bed. And every night, ever since he was a kid, he had a fear that there was someone under his bed and they were going to get him. So he went to a counselor, a licensed counselor, and he told him the situation. They talked for a session, and he said, "Do you think you can help me?" The counselor said, "Sure, absolutely. Take about a year, a couple times a week, and and we'll take care of that. Yeah, we'll help you find the peace so you can sleep at night." And he said, "Well, how much is the session?" He said, $150. And so the young guy said, "Well, I'll think about that." And so he never really went back. He didn't go back. And about 6 or 8 months later, the counselor ran into him in town somewhere and said, "You never came back. Well, what's happening? You sleeping?" He said, "Oh, yeah, I am sleeping. I was at the bar and I shared with the bartender, the situation in my life. And the bartender said, 'Hey, I could fix that for $10. And he said, "I was thinking, $150 for twice a week. That's over 15 grand. And so I gave him, $10. He gave me the advice. I used my money I saved to buy myself a truck. And it just worked absolute wonders in my life." Counselor kind of indignant said, "Oh, yeah? And for $10, what kind of advice did he give you?" He said, "Well, it's pretty simple." He said, "Just go home and cut the legs off your bed." And I've slept great ever since. Yeah. I just want us to get that we are never stuck when we have got the problem, the dynamic of the situation. If I'm able to be at a place of peace right where I am in the midst of the confusion or the chaos, what can happen is the emergence from the depth of our being, an answer that we maybe never had even thought of. Because we're dealing with that which is infinite. That is the truth of who you are, right? We talk about spirit being all things, right? Spirit is infinite. All the great religions say spirit's infinite. I mean, it is the love, it is the beauty, it's the wholeness, it is the intelligence, it is the abundance, it is the well-being. That's the God nature, right? This means yes, this means no. All those qualities are God qualities, right? Yes. Well, if spirit is infinite, then you got to be of spirit, which means those are your true spiritual qualities. So when you are in the face of a difficult situation, it is up to you to remember the truth of who you are, which are those spiritual qualities. And so you do your practices when things are going well. So when they're difficult, you know how to do your practices. And so as you begin to do your spiritual work and you begin to grow and you begin to evolve, you begin to recognize that I will never find myself stuck. All that is I keep thinking the same thing I'm thinking, but God's grace is greater than my repetitive patterns. I am going to move beyond where I have been. Not that it isn't still part of my character or what I have gone through. It's in there. I mean, there was a kid or a preacher, I guess, who was riding his bike around the neighborhood. And He's making his visitations, and there was a kid who was selling a lawnmower. And the preacher went over to ask him because they needed a lawnmower. And he said to the young guy, how much is your bike, or how much is your lawnmower? And the kid says, I just want to make enough so I can have a bike. So the guy thinks, you know what, I'll just, I'll see, you want to trade the bike for the lawnmower? And the kid said, well, can I try it? So he grabbed the bike, and he, rode the bike and came back and said, you know what, you got yourself a deal, preacher. I'll take it. And shook hands. Kid started right off on the bike. The preacher, pulled the lawnmower and nothing. Pulled the cord. He said, hey, young guy, wait, come back here a sec. And he came back, and he said, this doesn't start. And the kid says, well, you got to cuss at it for it to start. And the minister said, you know what, I don't cuss anymore. When I was, born again, when I went into the ministry, and that was so long ago, I gave up cussing, and I don't know if I would remember even how to do that. And the kid just smiled and said, well, pull a few more times, you'll remember. We tend to fall back upon those old patterns. But I'll tell you what lies before us is far greater than what we have left behind. Got that? What lies before you is greater than what you have left behind. No matter how good it was, there's something even greater waiting to emerge in your life and in your world. And it doesn't mean it's not going to be hard. I mean, Katharine Hepburn, a wonderful actress from days gone by, Academy Award winner, she said that life is hard. After all, you die. You die from living this life. So you can be on this path with a sense of peace, with a sense of joy, with a sense of life, or you can be on this path miserably. But after all, it's going to kill you. Is what she said. Life is hard, but after all, it's going to kill you. That will be. But you got to deal with it. You got to get good with that in your life, because as you get good with that, when the dreams come and start stirring your heart and your soul, and something more beautiful or wonderful emerges, within you, you can begin to believe that. You can be at peace. You don't need anxiety. You can see this vision as a possibility that is seeking to have its way. And when I talk about dreams, I'm not talking about those things you see when you sleep. I'm talking about those things you see that don't let you sleep. Those things that get you so excited and you don't know, what am I going to do with this? Well, Ernest Holmes, who wrote in his last book that came out in 1960, the year he died, he wrote it with his brother Fenwick. It's called The Voice Celestial, very mystic. Someone's searching and there's a spirit or a voice speaking answers. He said, love is the alchemy of spirit. Love transforms the lesser into the more. Got that? Something's going on, remember, fall back on love. Fall back to that place and remember really, the truth of who you are, which is the God nature, because that is infinite. That means you are of that. It wasn't like God and you, or God and me. We are of that infinite. Let's remember when we're at a sense of peace, how beautiful you are inside your soul, your spirit, how healthy you are even when the prognosis may be looking different. This is what I'm going to tell myself. Zig Ziglar, he was one of the early guys in the motivational movement. He would say, people would often say to me, motivation, it just doesn't seem to last. And Zig's response I loved. He said, well, either does bathing, which is why we recommend you do it daily, Our spiritual practices, our prayers, our contemplations are things we do daily, particularly when life is going good. Have you signed up for the foundation class that starts in a few weeks here with Yvonne? The basics of this philosophy. So when you're facing one of those challenges and those mountains that seem insurmountable, rather than freaking out and letting your mind go crazy and drive you where it wants, you have taken these classes from Yvonne that gives you the basic principles on what to do when you are facing these real life issues. This is not just a philosophy philosophy that is to be, talked about. It is to be lived. Are you looking for greater health, greater wealth, greater balance, greater whatever it is you're working on? Love, the alchemy of spirit is love, and that is what transforms the lesser to the greater. And as you consistently practice this, you will find peace in the midst of chaos. You will find truth in the midst of confusion. But you've got to constantly have it there. I used to have a cat. I've had a lot of cats because I came to discover, and you probably know this because you live more in the wilderness than I do, but just the scent of the cat around the house keeps the mice away. For the most part, right? Just the consistent consciousness of peace and love and the greater possibility. So just those pieces will create the greater picture of that. And what I want you to also understand is just because you have tackled a biggie now in your life doesn't mean you're not going to have one tomorrow. It's like there is no finish line as long as you're still here. Right? It's like a body work. You guys ever work out with weights? You work out with weights, you get going real good. Yeah, man, I'm woo. And then you stop. And all of a sudden, you kind of lose some of the good feeling you have going in your body. Body workers know that you got to continue to do it to keep those muscles strong. We've got to continue to do our spiritual practices to keep our world towering and not taken down by the petty, animated, negative thoughts that we're going to creep in from the collective consciousness that is buying into fear and the worry and the concern. And as you begin to bring that clearer picture of that dream that is keeping you awake with a sense of excitement, it's like you all of a sudden see a way. All of a sudden you feel good inside. Yeah, like windshield wipers. There you go. You got a messy window, you squirt it, go, wow. I can see. This is great. Well, we've got to continue to clear that window. We have got to continue to do our spiritual practices. We've got to continue to do our work. Louise Hay, wonderful religious science minister, dedicated my building down in San Diego. She would say, you have criticized yourself for years. Yeah. Why don't you try approving of yourself and see how that works? You've been criticizing yourself for years. How's that working for you? Yeah. Try loving yourself. Try approving of yourself. And that's where the peace comes. That's where the peace comes in when you face whatever it is you're facing. Last story, it's that's Kathy Cleveland. She was 14 years old. Her mom said, let's go get you a horse today. We're going to go to the Bureau of Land Management, and you get to pick out your horse today. And so they drove up to Northern California, right there on the border of Nevada, I guess. And there were several pens of these wild Mustangs just, going wild. And 14-year-old Kathy says, I'll take that big, black, wild stallion. And Mom says, I don't think not. But look at this little bay over here, It's 20, and it's like 20 months old. It's kind of scrawny, skinny, ribs sticking out, but long, lanky legs, strong, but not too aggressive. I think that'd be a good one for you. And the cat said, I love it. Let's take it. Any horse at that point, I guess your first one. I never got a first horse. So anyway, I'll take it, Mom. Anyway, they took that little foal home, and, she started working with it. And within a year, she was riding that horse everywhere. And when it grew to full size, it was, I guess, 15 hands high, which is 5 feet 4 inches to the shoulder. How do you like that? Big, but not like a workhorse, Clydesdale kind of big. It's more like a thoroughbred. And she would ride it into town across the 101 because that's where the town was and that's where the candy store was. And she said, girls have got to have their chocolate, And this horse, I guess, wasn't scared of anything. It could be backfiring on the cars on the freeway. It could be diesel trucks. It could be chainsaws. It could be dogs barking. They would joke that this horse could be one of the horses for the mounted police in New York. But this horse, she said, wasn't meant to be in the outdoors because she rode it everywhere in the woods, on the trails, packing, parades, on private property. Not that she ever told her mom, but it was her bestie. It was who she went to in those happy times, those sad times, those teenage injustice times. And even when she was older and she was having a child and was afraid she was going to lose, and the nurse said, you have to bring down your blood pressure or you're going to have to let this child go prematurely. And all of a sudden she went and she just visioned, brushing her horse and being in the fields and the trails and the woods and the backcountry, and blood pressure instantly came down. They were best friends. But it got to a point where her horse started, I don't know, 15, 16, 17 years into it, developed a cough, and they wouldn't really go away. So I took it to the vet, and the vet came to her or wherever and said, it's got emphysema. And it's going to progress. I mean, for the meantime, I can help her ride a little bit, but in this area, you can't really help it. The moist of air of Humboldt County with its pathogens or allergens or with the pollen, whatever's in there, it's just, once it gets in there, there's nothing we can do. I can help bring comfort and last a little bit longer, beginning next riding season, bring her in, and we'll give her a steroid shot, and it will help, and then bring her back. And so the first year at the beginning of the riding season, brought in, got a shot. And it was good for that season. Next year, took a couple shots to get through the riding season. By the third year, it took 3 shots, and it was going down, and she knew it was time to put her beloved horse down. And so called the vet. And she took her horse down to the meadow, just the tall green grass, foot high. Just looked at her in the eyes and started reminiscing over the last 20 years together. And said, you're my best friend. You're my first love. You were always there for me. And when I first met you, you were wild. Those long, lanky legs. I would love to have seen you running with those yearlings when you were a wild Mustang. But, you and I, we have done so much together. But I'm going to have a friend come, and he's going to open up the gate for you. And it's going to help me open it, and you're going to be able to go. And when the vet arrived, she went with her horse and said, okay, we're going to open up this gate. And when we open it up, I want you to run through there and be free, just like the wild little 1-year-old you were, and run and play and be free with all your friends, because you are a Mustang and you are fast, and I want you to go and don't look back. Don't think about me. Don't worry about me, because when I'm done here, I will join you and we will ride again. And you know how much fun it was to discover new trails together. That's the kind of peace that comes in those dynamic situations when you really don't know the answer. But you're at peace with the work, with the practices, with the difficult moments. And when the biggie comes, whether you go down and you don't even realize you're hurt and your bones are broken, when you're assisting a loved one across and you find something inside of you because you're not in a crazy kind of mind that is driving you crazy, but rather you're in the heart that's taking you home, that's taking you to that right place to be and to express. So let's do some prayer together right now, since our hearts are so open. I just feel that love. The tears that fill this place in this moment, that's our hearts opening. It's feeling beyond a monkey mind, a crazy mind that is caught up with the concerns of readjusting this world. But rather it is a place where our heart is experiencing the love and the alchemy and the blessings and the beauty and the grace of that God expression that is far greater than our little mind can ever conceive. When I come to recognize the true God qualities of my being, I can know peace now. And I trust the unfolding process, because I am one with the infinite. I am one with that divine presence, and it is in this moment that that infinite moves through me. And so I am Spirit expressing, and I share these words with all of us present, knowing that truly peace is our choice. That peace is available in this moment. And it's from this peaceful place that I'm able to bring any of the concerns of my life into this moment without fear, without anxiety, without judgment. I'm willing to present this to that higher expression, that divine force, that which created all things, that breathed life into us from the very beginning, that which can move mountains. I bring this concern and offer it up into this light without having to hold on or to explain, and to make myself available beyond my previous experience, to be knowing the greater possibilities and the way through this dynamic in my life. Whether it has to do with my body, this is the temple of God. It knows how to heal. It knows how to collaborate with the medical modalities. It knows what it needs to do to bring ourselves back to that place, the restoration of the energy flow of our whole physical being. And healing happens because that is the natural unfoldment of this physical form. So I let go of the weight, the concerns, the fears around the body, and begin to open up to the blessings and the grace of God, and find that which pours through my heart is love and peace. And I bring this into my relationships, the ones that are friends and family and intimacy. I find myself just loving life, and then the partnerships that I find myself in are just delicious and beautiful and wonderful. They are the laboratory in which my soul is able to experience life in a new kind of way. And when I come up to my edge of what I know how to be or do, I'm able to drop that wall and allow myself to be seen and exposed, and trust this process that takes me to the greater expression, because I've chosen to follow love in this moment. And it's in this moment there is a richness. There's a blessing and a grace and an intervention of the divine that exceeds anything previously hereto thought of. And so I let go to this and become that place where the divine downloads its abundance, its fullness, its richness, its wealth, its finances, all that is necessary to express and support the soul's expression, the creative expression that is pure. And so it's in this moment with a sense of deep peace around any particular of these that I contribute to that emerging consciousness of peace, and allow that to prevail, and know that I am creating this wonderful vibration that is not only for myself, but for the world in which I walk, and those that are around me can feel, and for this community, this wonderful shining mountain CSL Kalispell that is growing and thriving, that has all the seats filled today. For truly it is an exciting day. It is a God day that we are grateful to take out into the world and boldly be who we truly are, which is the divine expressing itself. So I say thank you for these words that are manifesting here and now, for the wonderful adjustment that has taken place, the opening, the shift in my life that has now made me available for the greater good that is seeking to have its way as our life. So I let go and I allow that infinite to have its way. And so it is. Amen. Thank you. Woo. What a joy, what a joy. That's it. And did you want me to do that collection for you? Oh, well, she can do it all.
Just marvelous. Thank you so much for being here. That was marvelous. Thank you.
Thank you.
And also, I want to thank those who joined us online. They're divine sparks of God and light. And you know, as you're part of this community and you understand that peace that makes obstacles look like flowers falling down at your feet, I am so happy that you're part of this group and that you've joined us today. And I hope you join us again next Sunday. And we thank you for your support. And now, as our ushers come forward, and we have a